This podcast is produced by the Harwood Productions Podcast Network. To learn more about the network and to find more of our shows, visit us online at www.harwoodpodcast.com.
Hey there everyone, I'm Cameron Harris and this is In Range, episode number 27. Now something we haven't really talked about on the show before is the different types of diabetes. Now you probably know about whatever type it is that you have. If you have type 1, you know all about type 1 obviously, but you might not know about the other kinds of diabetes that there are in the world. So that's what we're going to talk about today, a brief overview of the different types of diabetes. Now, the first type of diabetes, appropriately called type 1, is actually the least common type there is. It's actually the kind that I have. Now, when you have type 1, what happens is your immune system decides to start attacking the cells in your pancreas that make insulin. Insulin being a hormone that courses through your body and basically converts the sugars in carbohydrates that you eat into energy. Pretty important function to keep you alive. Now, eventually, after your immune system keeps attacking these cells, they're completely gone. You no longer make any insulin at all, and you have to give it to yourself either via injections or an insulin pump like I use. In other words, you're insulin dependent. That's another phrase you'll hear tossed around quite a bit. Now, when you have type 1, you also need to check your blood sugar to make sure that you are in range. Title of the show, of course. Now, if you go higher than the range, you have to give yourself more insulin to bring you back down. If you go low, you need to eat something to bring you back up. Pretty simple. That's type 1, also known as juvenile diabetes. That's another word you'll hear for it. But there's also another type called type 2 diabetes. Now, when you have type 2 diabetes, your body still produces insulin, but the cells that use the insulin to actually convert the sugars into energy have become much less sensitive to it. As such, the insulin isn't as effective as it should be, and your blood sugars run higher. Now, type 2 diabetes can be controlled with diet and exercise, but sometimes medication is required, and in extreme cases, even insulin, and you end up treating it more like type 1. Now, lastly, there's something called pre-diabetes. Pre-diabetes is basically an extremely mild version of type 2, where the cells that use insulin have become less sensitive to it, but not nearly as much as it has in a type 2 person. Now, that means that the insulin isn't as effective, and your blood sugars will run higher than usual, but not high enough to be considered type 2 territory. Now, pre-diabetes, you want to control by, very much like you would control type 2 diabetes, exercise, diet, cutting back on your fat intake, losing weight, that sort of thing. And if you do that, then you can actually prevent it from developing into type 2 diabetes. Keep in mind that these are really brief synopsis of each of the types of diabetes. There's way more to learn about each type, but this should give you a nice brief overview. Now, until next time, be sure to visit our website at www.harwoodpodcast.com. We'll have the show notes, links to where you can find out more about all of these types of diabetes, all kinds of great stuff. And if you have any questions or comments for me about the show, be sure to send me an email at cameron@harwoodpodcast.com. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'll catch you guys later, and good luck staying in range.